Hey, yo, welcome back. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house as well, and it's Monday, so you know what that means. We go all the way up. Detroit sports media icon Fost, Terry Foster, in the captain's chair today. Big weekend of football action. The Heisman awarded. Lions lose in Denver. But you guys know, and I'm not taking a victory lap here because I don't do those types of things. You know, I give you...
But what if you did?
But if I did, I would let you know. And it ties in because Fish was there in the house last night in Hamilton. The Grey Cup went down. Winnipeg won the Grey Cup. They beat Hamilton in overtime. I did get you right with Winnipeg. You had to earn it.
Somehow. I don't know how.
You had to have diamond hands going through it. But they did get the job done. They did get the win. And T-Foss, you posed a very interesting question about the Detroit Lions and Canadian Football League. What was that?
How would the Lions do in the CFL?
How would the Lions do in the CFL? And Fish, look, you were in the building. You were in Hamilton yesterday. You have a Grey Cup hoodie on right now.
Sick one, too.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty sleek. You analyze that. You know, you're a big CFL guy. I'm a big CFL guy. How would the Lions do in the Canadian Football League?
I think they do fine. Maybe, they can't throw the ball, so...
Dan Campbell would always have to go for it on third down.
Yes,
instead of fourth down.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
He'd be overly aggressive on third down instead of fourth down.
Can I bring something up, right? Because we mentioned and we taught people the rouge here on Friday and stuff like this.
They saw a few of them.
Now, what I saw, or actually I didn't see it, but what it was reported to me... right, by my astute on-site guy in Fish, right, is that Hamilton took the rouge, which took it down, which he shouldn't have kneeled down or whatever.
Baby boy.
My question is,
hey.
Bad coaching everywhere, Terry. Bad coaching everywhere.
Honey, nobody knows what a rouge is,
Neil,
so can you
explain
please
it
explain it?
They should.
T-Foss,
Neil,
it's basically when you
we
can't
broke
take a
it down.
kick, when you can't take a kick out of the end zone.
No matter if it's a punt,
A
kickoff,
punt, field
whatever.
goal, whatever, kickoff, any of it. If you don't get the ball out of the end zone, you theoretically take a knee, or if you're tackled in the end zone, the kicking team gets 1 point. It's called a rouge. Now, sometimes there's a theory behind that because, Fish, when you kneel in the end zone, you get the ball at the 35-yard line.
Yeah.
So, there is value. And look, Hamilton struggled with this in the first part of the game. They were constantly pinned at, their own 10-yard line. It was almost like a soccer-esque type thing.
But you mentioned to me, no, there was good coaching because the way that the wind was playing, that Winnipeg played for the wind in the fourth for this to happen.
And unlike Marty Morningwig, it worked out.
It did, didn't it?
They took the wind, and it worked.
So the bottom line, I think you were saying is the get right got you right.
It did. I delivered.
You delivered.
And by the way, on a side note, the get right pick finished really strong, low key. 9-6. We wrapped up the season. 9-6. That's getting you right. We closed strong. Winnipeg, obviously, as you see on your screen. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can jump in on our YouTube chat. We take some of those as the show goes on. Social media handles on the bottom of the screen. And don't forget, too, you see in the background here, the Stuffa Studio going on, our second annual Stuffa Studio. D-Mac's got the toys in front of him that he represents with the Halo and the Star Wars and all that stuff.
Ray Phoenix.
AEW figures, hey, a little light bright action.
I put the Halo
Right
stuff
there.
up here to taunt Sawyer. Right, so when he looks at me every time and he sees the Halo guys, and then because I put him on somebody said influence. I said influencer. You said enabler, or what did you guys say? It was you called me something because I made Sawyer go down a rabbit hole of Halo. Right? What did you call me? I said influencer. You said enabler.
You're an impactor.
Impactor. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is all to Sawyer. What things can happen if he's good. He might be able to have this for Christmas. This is out there.
Let's go.
Obviously, Mandalorian got to take Baby Yoda.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do contest this. That Grey Cup football game was better than any football game in the NFL yesterday. Certainly better than the Detroit Lions, better than anything else that went on, as Sawyer spinning some highlights there. And there was the interception to lock it up in overtime, and Winnipeg, your Grey Cup champions. But, that's how it went down, and it was a great game, and I was glad I watched. I was locked in the entire second half, didn't miss a play.
So everybody understand, Fish was there.
Fish was there.
How was the atmosphere, Fish? Did you enjoy it? Because the fact that you got, you drove there, you came back and stuff like this, was it all worth it?
Yeah, it was definitely all worth it. They're getting it again in 2023. So hopefully I'll be back there. And that's 110. That's a special one.
Okay.
Ooh, 110.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is.
Number 110.
I might have to have D-Mac pull some strings, and we might have to get something set up. You're a child of Ontario. You can get that hooked up.
I am a child of Ontario. We could try to use that.
T-Foss, would you go to the Grey Cup with us?
Terry hasn't taught me that yet.
Where would you rather go, the Sun Bowl or the Grey Cup?
Sun Bowl, no question.
What if they did the Grey Cup like the Sun Bowl? It's a shorter drive.
The Canadian girls are cute, so yeah, I'll go for it.
Okay. D-Mac, let's get popping on that.
Well,
we got a head start.
The only thing, Terry, that we know it'll be indoors.
Oh, I'm fine then.
Okay.
The only thing about the Sun Bowl thing, I made a mistake.
Oh, boy.
I should have said that my female friends were hosts, not escorts.
You misworded that.
Yeah, I did. I misworded it.
Because that took on a whole different dynamic, T-Foss. It took on a whole different dynamic on social media, on the YouTube chat thread. Personally, for me...
I got a call from Deadspin. They wanted to do a story on it. And I said, well, everything that I said happened, but the ladies were hosts, not escorts. They're like, oh, damn.
Then they well, T-Foss, we got to let you go.
Yeah, we're busy.
Yeah, what do you got, Fish?
D-Mac, you'll be proud. I did go all Canadian. I got the poutine. You have to.
You
have to get the poutine.
Oh, so proud of you, kid. How was it?
Oh, it's incredible. Gotta love the poutine.
What was the best part of the game? What did they do? Canada, obviously. Did they have a flyover or?
Yeah, they had two of them. They had one during the anthem, and then one before the kickoff.
Wow, double flyover.
And I went to Tim Hortons and got Justin Bieber's donuts.
You did? And
Canadian.
Right now, how are the Biebs bits?
They were good. They were actually pretty good.
All right, there you go. Poutine.
D-Mac, did you ever go to the Harvey's by Maple Leaf Garden?
Absolutely, Terry. We would send the dressing room attendant to go there and grab like 20, 25, 30 Harvey's burgers and fries or whatever, so to be on the bus to the airport for after the game. 1,000,000%. Because a Harvey's burger is a good burger.
Do you know what they call Harvey's by Maple Leaf Gardens?
What?
Hooker Harvey's.
And
that's why all the ladies
Well, Terry, is it Hooker Harvey's or is it Host Harvey's?
No, it's Hooker. Now, these ladies, you got to pay. For real.
And a hamburger. Wow.
And hamburgers
Wimpy
good.
would dig that.
Pete Smith says it's legal in Canada, guys. So, T-Foss.
Oh, okay.
That Pete Smith also wants to know is the guy in the booth waiting to mug someone, the guy behind Fish. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
We don't know who that is. So we thought he was one of yours.
Yeah, Uncle Mega says thank you, Canada. No, but we're lining things up. We're going to get into the Lions, get into the NFL, the Heisman discussion, all that. But there is one other issue going on right now that I was tagged in on Twitter, on social media. You were, and I never thought we'd get to this point. But Sawyer's become like a spokesman in Detroit media for F1. Ooh. When something happens in F1, and this escaped my attention.
I'm going to say, though, right, because we got into this a little bit going into the weekend because of the F1, the billionaires, where Sawyer hangs out, his friends in the open wheel. This was coming down to it, Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, which this was a race for it all. And I guess it played out to be a heck of a race. So Sawyer was all excited. I got tagged on. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, all right, so Sawyer, it's F1's moment here. We got, about 4 minutes or so. Ooh. Break this down for me.
What a race.
Give T-Foss and I the cliff notes because I missed this. I was locked into Grey Cup mode. Did the Lions pregame show, had a great time out there in O'Toole's. Missed you, T-Foss. It was on the tracks of getting some kind of way there at O'Toole's, but luckily,
Lucky T-Foss wasn't there.
I kind of maneuvered out, luckily at just the right time. But bring us up to speed, Sawyer, on what happened.
Oh yeah, it was a doozy of a race. Gotta say, it started off pretty slow. Lewis Hamilton took the lead early, and he had like a 20-second lead for a majority of the race until like 10 laps to go. So I was just sitting there thinking all hope was lost. We weren't going to be able to do anything. But then we had Nicholas Latifi coming in, and this was like 7 laps to go. He just puts it in the wall. So then obviously you can't race with a car in the middle of the track. So then they had to do a safety car, which obviously that means like everybody slows down. You got to clean the stuff up. And here's where the controversy started, because normally if you're going to move lap cars up in front of the leaders and around, you have to do the whole field. So the FIA decided not to do that. And then right before they went green, they decided to do that. So then Lewis and Max were able to race it out on the last lap, which caused a lot of controversy because they went against the rules kind of. So then they just went for it, and then Lewis had the lead because he was in first place, but then that put Max in second. So then they ran it down in the last lap, and Max got him in turn 3, which is a heavy braking zone coming up right here. I mean,
listen to this guy,
fantastic.
dude.
Yeah, and that was
full
it.
out, full tilt coming in, heavy braking zone, moves to the left, runs it in a little
Bad move
deeper
on
to
his
seal
part.
Lewis off, and then the rest is history there because Max had fresher tires.
Yeah.
Lewis was on like 40-lap old hard tires. So, I mean, he couldn't fight back. Max was on a new compound of soft tires, and that was a little controversy, too, the swerving down the straightaway, because you're only allowed 3 moves in Formula 1. So he did 3, and then once the guy's there, you have to, like, pick your lane to block. So, I mean, it was legal, but Mercedes started complaining. They
saw that.
They tried to appeal 2 things.
Yeah, 2 of them, yeah.
And the FIA turned down one of their appeals, and then now they're backing out of the other one. But the first appeal was that Max passed Lewis during the safety car, which, I mean, they're accelerating and braking so much to warm the brakes and tires up that he inched past him, but he gave the spot right back, and it was not under green, so that was fine. And then the other one was the whole letting lap cars through. So
it was very
just
much like the college football playoff selection committee was running F1 during the race in real time.
Well, they got a call from the Interjohn Corp like during the race. And they're like, you guys got to change this up. Like, we need somebody else to win, right?
Yeah.
So,
But
There
do
you
you
go.
think, let me ask you this, right? Because Lewis Hamilton pretty much had been running the sport, or do you think that this, like, to me, is this, as a fan, and I know your guy won, but you can look at things objectively, was this done fairly? Is this too much whining, or do they have a point, or like, how do you see it? Do you see it? You know what I'm saying? Because you're like I am. You know, everybody plays by the sort of the rules. Was everything done? Because it seems to me like Verstappen did everything against the rules. You know, didn't break the rules and stuff like this, where Hamilton might have cost it. Was it the braking, like Fish said, in that turn that cost Hamilton, or was it everybody against him?
I mean, obviously the braking in that kind of screwed him over too, but his team kind of put him in a bad spot, not bringing him into pit for a new set of tires when the safety car was out. I mean, yeah, you give up a little bit of track position, but you also get fresher rubber, so then you're faster. So he was just kind of a sitting duck, being on 40-lap old tires, Verstappen being on brand new ones. And this whole season has been so close to where it's gotten very political because the action on track has been so close. They have to go to the FIA with little regulations. Like, Red Bull was complaining in Brazil because Mercedes DRS flap would open a little too big, which is a little infringement against the rules. So they took that to the FIA, and then Mercedes responds with something else, going to the FIA about
Well, that's
Red
just
Bull.
Mercedes
So-
being Mercedes, right?
Hey, that's the billionaire.
Yeah,
bitch
I mean,
club.
but Red Bull's not perfect too. Christian Horner complains a lot about a lot of things, but I mean, it's very political.
What do you got, Fish?
Lewis Hamilton took the lead in the first lap controversially as well by going off the track because Verstappen they touched in the first lap, so people were concerned that it was
Listen
that
to
he
you
took an
guys.
advantage.
Listen to
I
Terry
thought they
Fox.
always went off the track in F1.
Yeah, I mean, the rule when you're passing a car, you can't. If all 4 tires leave the double white lines that like dictate the track, then you have to give the position back because you had a unworthy advantage over the car
Yeah,
in
you
front
can't
of you.
gain advantage, Terry. Like going
Man,
off
listen
the
to
track.
that. Yeah, I don't know what's worse. Like, you guys sitting here breaking all this down, or in the YouTube chat thread just lighting up like a pinball machine about Steve Brown, F1 screwed Hamilton. So there's that. Mike G wants to know, Sawyer, is it possible to eat poutine and steer an F1 down Woodward? Jake Wagoner says, Sawyer and I hang out and watch F1 and play piano in a swanky house with 3 furnaces. LOL, we're classy. Perez played the ultimate team play. Hamilton got screwed in the past. Like, you guys, like, you know, Steve Brown, Mercedes taking it to court. You guys are amazing.
Perez
man.
did have the ultimate team play too, going off that comment. I mean, had to slow down Lewis Hamilton because Max was like 10 seconds behind. Hamilton was opening up the gap. Sergio Perez was in front of him, hadn't pitted yet, so his tires were very old, and he just held Lewis off and got Max within like 2 seconds, so he was right in striking distance again. It was really impressive.
David Mentier says, "I'm so lost right now." Don't worry, David. I'm going to land the plane right now. All right, we're gonna talk
to reality. The Lions lost.
Yeah, hey, the Lions did lose, but if you followed me and you got right this weekend, you didn't lose, and hopefully you did it with my bookie. You took advantage of the offer we've been talking about, doubling your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. With the code Woodward when you sign up at mybookie.ag. And look, UFC 269, couple of stunners on Saturday night. That was a lot of fun to watch. Yep, a 6.5 to 1 underdog cashed in. Amanda Nunes went down.
Yep.
So
some guy lost like $350,000 on Nunes.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy's an idiot.
So, it all went down on mybookie.ag. Hopefully you got in. Hopefully you got right. And it's something, if you haven't yet, do it. You were sitting around all weekend. There wasn't a ton of football going on, but Army-Navy was going on, all that. So, again, mybookie.ag, that is the play for you. You can double your first deposit up to $1,000 using the promo code Woodward. They take well-known cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, all of it, so you can withdraw with crypto if you want to as well. It's got all the TFOS elements to it. You go to mybookie.ag, load up that account with crypto if you want to. They will double your first deposit up to $1,000 with the promo code Woodward. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a gambling problem? Call the Gambling Problem Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. As you see the toys all around, second annual Stuff a Studio going on. You can come on down to Woodward Sports, drop off a toy. 34915 Woodward Avenue in Birmingham. If your business, bring some stuff down. We'll give your business a shout out as well. We want to help all the children who've been in the hospital all year long, and Mott Children's Hospital have the holiday that they deserve. And certainly if you have kids, for me, this hits a little bit different with Mott Children's Hospital. So whatever you can do, certainly we would love to see it all week this week, 7 a.m., 10 p.m. Come on down to the Woodward Sports Studios. Drop off those toys. We have them all over the studio right now. By the time this is all done, this will be built up and overwhelming the studio. But speaking of being overwhelmed, the Detroit Lions were overwhelmed by the Denver Broncos. And T-Foss, look, I was concerned doing the pregame show yesterday at O'Toole's. I was concerned that the Lions would hang in this game. They were able to. They got down 14-0. I was happy. That made me happy. Mm-hmm. They came back. They cut it to 14-10. But in the end, you can't win the Kentucky Derby with mules, and there wasn't the talent on the field for the Lions to stay in this.
Those weren't just mules; those were three-legged mules that they put out there. But normally week to week, I dog Dan Campbell for making stupid mistakes and things like this. I have no problem with the way he called the game. I have no problem with what the Lions did. They did yeoman's work. They couldn't hang with Denver for 60 minutes. Didn't have enough people. Didn't have enough horses out there, and they went down. But, Neil, you should be nervous. Only a half game up for that first pick.
Well, Terry.
And Jacksonville, Urban Meyer screaming at his coaches. I mean, that thing could disintegrate.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people. And that's why I'm mad at myself for getting caught up, allowing DMAC to get me caught up after that Vikings game. It's real. There is no margin for error anymore.
It's real, but the Lions needed their little victory. Let them have their victory.
Terry, no, stop, Terry. I'm cutting you off right there. Look,
they did.
I know you're the Detroit sports media icon and everything like that, but I'm walking right into the eye of the storm, Terry. You cannot have it both ways. You can't say the Lions needed that and then at the same time say there's no margin for error anymore. Do I look like T-Foss now?
Still number one.
Well, both things can be true.
Yes.
No. You're either in or you are
both
out,
things
D-Mac.
can be, but at the time,
but look how this city celebrated that win. I mean, they were jumping up and down, leaping off buildings. They needed that. And
but you can't sit here and tell me you're concerned. I don't want to hear it, Terry. You had the chance to keep a more than one game gap.
Baby boy, who's got the number 1 pick now?
As we sit right now.
As we sit right
now.
now.
But they don't award the number 1 pick now.
Okay. They still got the number 1 pick in their hands. They'll lose the rest of their games. But the Lions people or their fans needed that victory. They got it. You're going to get what you want, and they're going to get what they want.
He
they
wants
didn't
it
want to go
easy, though.
0-17.
He wanted it easy. He wants the gap. Neil even said, when they lock up the first overall pick, win all the games you want.
Win all the games you want.
I agree with you, Terry. He's playing it out.
Everybody
even
wants
with
it both
the clock.
ways.
There it is. Oh, guys, look, we moved it up one more. 13. We're getting closer, but that's the whole thing. I agree with you, Terry, because just taking the temperature of how things had gone this year, right? The ups and downs and the emotion and shoulda, coulda, woulda a few times and this and that, and they needed that win. So, but you're right, Terry, as far as the ineptitude of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Urban Meyer.
They're making their push now.
Their push is on.
Yeah.
And if you saw them, there was no life. And you could talk about three-legged mules and whatever else, but what we put out there, but to your yeoman's work and everything else, that's the one thing you saw, the consistency of the effort out there, the lack of talent, but everybody buying into it. So that's why you should be scared a little bit, because Jacksonville, I think, even though Detroit is not in jeopardy of winning this week or next week, they keep losing guys. We'll see what the injury report is. They're playing, they got Arizona, and Arizona's not slowing down. I expect them to win tonight and up our draft class by beating the LA Rams and Matt Stafford tonight. But again, you're going to have to suffer this out. I'm with Terry. We needed it just because of the way it came down.
I don't want to hear you guys cry about it then. When I don't want to hear you and you, both of you two. I don't want to hear a word about it.
I don't know what Neil is nervous about.
I've told you I feel more comfortable with the second pick. Right?
No. I don't want to hear it from either of you two.
Who do you want the Lions to pick?
I want whoever Brad Holmes wants to take.
No. Who do you want?
Whoever Brad Holmes. See, Terry, I can't answer that question. I'm not an NFL scout, man. Like, I'm not a college scout.
I know, but you're a fan.
I'm a
you're
fan,
a guy
yeah.
with an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably shade, Thibodeau, just as.
What if the Lions ended up with Aiden Hutchinson? Would you be upset?
Would I be upset? No, because obviously they value him more.
You might be able to get him at number 2. So
I don't want to play that game, T-Foss. I want Brad Holmes to have as much ammunition as possible.
All right, I know what you're afraid of. You're afraid that, I think the game is January 9th. Whenever Green Bay comes in here, Green Bay will have everything wrapped up, and they won't give a damn. They'll come on the road and just play a half-ass game, lose, and then the Lions give up that number 1 pick. That's what you're scared
I'm petrified
about.
of that. And under my plan, that wouldn't have been a factor.
Because I'm saying at number 2, you could still get what many people are considering the number 1 pick in the draft. Because I think whoever has a number 1 pick.
But now you're picking 34 instead of 33. You're toying with my plan here.
Can I ask a scenario? I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, say that happens. Do you accept it more if the demise of the Rams, right? Say they crap the bed, right?
So you're giving me offers right now.
No, that pick gets into the teens, right? That
would
pick
I trade?
from the
Would
Rams,
I trade one? You're saying would I trade 1 for 2 if 2 was attached to say 17 as opposed to 1 being attached to 24?
See, that's why you work good with me. You're right in the head.
I get what you're saying.
You got what I'm saying. Would that ease the blow a little bit?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yes, it would. But I'm convinced the Rams are going to win tonight.
Well, I know. But we'll have the great point about them playing the game is tomorrow we can have this conversation to say which one's closer, and then you can be saying, I told you guys, I told you. It's getting real because the Rams actually won the game, but I don't think so. I think it's coming down. And to Terry's point, Terry, I'm not really mad if you have the second pick because I think, in my opinion, you're asking me as the fan or whatever, Thibodeau is more clowny to me, and it's the injuries that I'm looking for. Yeah, great talent, but if we fell to number 2 and whoever's got number 1, Jacksonville, and they go for the Thibodeau, Hutchinson lands to you. If, to your point, they value him, the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, who you trust, values him, it could be the win-win situation there too. right? The only thing is if you're not going to get the guy you want. Sometimes what you don't get is actually a blessing. How many times do you see that? We
all the time.
We talk
right.
about the draft that's gone wrong, but how about the one that the other team drafted didn't go right?
Yeah, because how I see this playing out in my eye, Fost, is if you get one, and I don't think it'll end up working this way. I would take Thibodeau with one because I think there's a higher ceiling in terms of the NFL than there is with Hutchinson, in my opinion. But I'm not a scout, so I'm just a dude with a microphone. In my grand master plan, I would take Ajabo with my second first-round pick. And I don't think it's going to go if he's there, and I don't think he will be because you look at state champion, sprinter, all that kind of stuff. That's all combine gold, man. When he rolls out there and smokes everybody in the 40, smokes every single linebacker in the nation in the 40 and all that kind of stuff, he's going to start shooting up the board because he's going to be a physical freak.
The sprinkles.
Yeah.
The sprinkles.
I know that's how it's going to go, but that's how I would want it.
Sometimes the worst pick is the better pick. Back Barry Sanders, the Lions had the number 3 pick.
Right.
If they had the number 2 pick, guess what?
They were taking Tony Mandridge.
They were taking Tony Mandridge.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. That's and a lot of times, where we're sitting here, and it goes to the trust factor, right? When I'm looking at Brad Holmes, right? Well, what do we always say? Oh, later in the draft. Oh, the guys that he can find and the guys that he can draft. But we're not saying the guys that he's picked up front or whatever else, right? Penei Sewell, we think it's a great pick or whatever else. If he has, I'd be confident if he has the first pick. But, again, to Terry's point, sometimes what you don't get, what falls to you, is a blessing in disguise.
Right. Now, our YouTube chat, there are people chiming in as well. Jenna Newman says, I like to come by Friday on my day off for the Stuff the Studios. You see the toys all around us. Jenna, as Joik would say, pull up on us.
Stuff it up.
Pull up.
Pete Smith says, did anyone else get in trouble for writing swears on a light bright at a friend's house like I did? Yeah, probably has happened. Matt Ryle says, Merry Christmas, Big D Energy, best show on the network. Matt, we appreciate you checking in on that. Steve, I texted a buddy at 1410 and said I had a bad feeling about it, but thankfully it went away. And yeah, like that is the way it did work out, fortunately for everybody. Joey 2 times makes a basic car animation on a laptop. You should be in school at MIT. Like that's that's how the light bright was back in the day, right? I looked at Etch-a-Sketch and a light bright.
So great.
Like friends that could make something coherent on there.
Etch-a-Sketch
I'd be
too?
like, you're the smartest person I've ever seen in my life. I still to this day never understood how people drew stuff on an Etch-a-Sketch because I'm not smart enough. So that's what it was. But when we come back, I do want to get into the actual game, the Denver Lions game. Believe it or not, there were a couple positives. Well, there's one positive I took out, other than the fact that they lost. But a lot of positives. If you pull up on the Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck, one of the best nights out when you're going out downtown, stop by the Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck, home of the original football bowling pin game called Fowling. Host a corporate party team building event. There's still time. If you want to line up that holiday party at the Fowling Warehouse, ask your coworkers about it. They've done it before. They've had a good time. Ask your friends about it. They've been to the Fowling Warehouse. They've had a good time. I've been down there. People here at Woodward Sports have been down there. And, they got it any way that you want to do it. Show up, open play, reserve private lanes. You can do all of it. They have over 100 beers available. $2 mystery beer vending machine. Our producer Sawyer can tell you he pulled a PBR out of the $2 mystery beer vending machine. He was fired up. There's multiple full bars. You're hungry? You can have food delivered. Do like Joik Bell does. Get your Grubhub.
Oh!
Yeah, get your Grubhub, your DoorDash, whatever. Get it delivered up there to the Fowling Warehouse. You bring the food, have it delivered, whatever you want to do. Come get your full on. Check it out at fowlingwarehouse.com.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
And a miraculous catch. Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Off and running here. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rules, Detroit sports icon, T. Fost, Terry Foster in the captain's chair, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. Fish is in the bowl. Sawyer is in the production booth as well. Happy to have you all along for the ride. Lions fall in Denver, 38-10. Broncos outscore the Lions 21-0 in the second half. They run away with it, literally ran away with it. But we know the story. Tons of inactives, COVID, flu, injuries, all that kind of stuff. There was one bright spot, and I'm curious to get T. Foss's take on this. You pull up Craig Reynolds from the practice squad. Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig. I need to borrow your VCR right quick. But Craig pops up. Craig. 11 carries, 83 yards, T. Foss. You know what I'm noticing with this Lions team, and it gets lost in the shuffle when you're 1-11-1. It doesn't seem to matter who they put back there. They seem to be able to run the football. Now, granted, they usually are behind all the time, and they can't use it as a weapon. But that is an encouraging sign to me. It is, for real.
Well, I don't think they run enough. They could run the football more, and they do their little jumbo packages, which is fine and everything. But I also think this. I think opponents lose interest in the Detroit Lions, and so it opens up the run. It opens up things for the Lions to do, but not enough to win a football game. So, yeah, I mean, they could run the football more.
No, and I think you're spot on with that. But D-Mac, I'm encouraged. Well, I'm encouraged by that.
I think the encouraging thing, right? And you're talking about Craig Reynolds. You remember
Craig?
I remember him because he was in exhibition and had some touchdown runs and stuff like this, and they brought him back and off the practice squad. But to me, it tells, okay, coming out of training camp, you know, the fact that the focus was on the offensive line. Right? Are they going to come together? And now that you see Penei Sewell, to me, I look at who's out there. When they're running and they're able to do that, Terry mentioned the jumbo packages, stuff like that. But to me, it looks to the continuity and development of a Penei Sewell. It looks to the fact that Taylor Decker has come back and given that offensive line. That you got to still remember, we're missing Frank Ragnow, right? Our best
Pro Bowl center,
right? Our best center guy and stuff like this. So, as we're looking for little things and watching this, no matter who it is out of the backfield and stuff, it looks like our running back core and developing the running game on the offense. We've seen what DeAndre Swift's done out of the backfield. So there's some encouragement there because we're only going to get better, you know. And you look at some of the guys that have been out, the Nelsons and, like I mentioned, the Ragnows and stuff. So to Terry's point, yeah, as the game goes on, but still, guys are in the NFL and they're proving that. This is something that we didn't see in past years, right? It'd just be anything. Now,
hey, Darren, there'll be one running back missing, Igwe.
Oh, wow.
I doubt if he'll be back next year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. And that's the other thing,
but that's
T-Foss.
the whole thing is you're finding out, right, where you get the opportunity.
Sink or swim.
Sink or swim. And again, you know, you can't put the ball on the ground. And that's the one thing, to that point, where you talk about Craig Reynolds does everything that he's asked to do, right? Didn't put the ball on the ground, run hard up the middle. It gives you something that hopefully, you know, the coaching staff and Brad Holmes, is something that they're watching. So he got the opportunity, and that's what you guys have to do. So maybe that's what we're looking for, is looking for those guys that are getting the opportunity. I'd mentioned, you know, Jerry Jacobs and stuff like that. He got injured. You know, another guy, but, you know, the undrafted free agents, things that Brad Holmes does well. Are there any more in our system on the practice squad? So, yeah, give Craig Reynolds the check mark for, you know, the positivity of something to be seen in a 38-10 loss.
And our YouTube chat thread, AC, says our offensive line is actually pretty good. And T-Foss, that's been my point when I did the pregame show was I want to make sure I bring this up. You haven't heard Penei Sewell's name in 3 weeks, other than Pro Football Focus saying he's one of the best rookies in the NFL and things like that. And that's the goal, right? When you're an offensive lineman, if we don't hear about you, then you're playing well.
That is good news. And it's also a testament to Brad Holmes, who's decided, I'm going to build from the inside out.
And that's what everyone's been dying for.
It's not sexy. You don't notice it right away, but that's how you build a winning football team and a culture. And that's what he's doing. So that's why I believe in the guy, and I believe eventually this will all work out.
And I do too. And I laugh and, you know, get this identity of the draft capital guy because I'm very analytical, right? Like that's fair to say.
But you're but if we want to get out of the hole that we're in as Lions fans, right? This is how we're going to get. You're giving us the path, the only way to get out. And it's slow and steady. It's just like anything else, building the foundation. And the foundation starts, right, up the middle as your offensive line. Like you said, you got to remember we're missing arguably the best center in the game.
Right.
So that's got to bring some excitement to you, too.
No, it does. And he's locked up for a while.
Well, that's the thing. And the guys, so you look at what you always preach, right? So are we going to hit looking at the team, right? The guys that are drafted by this regime are in the lineup. That's a positive, right? You look at the guys like a Ragnow, locked up. Best center in the league, locked up. That's a positive. You know, you have some maneuvering to do. You always mention Trey Flowers on the books or whatever, but hashtag 2023, 13 games. You're showing the positive in the side to get out or the way to get out, and it's not quick. Unfortunately, in this league, it can be, but you have to get the foundation. All the successful teams have the foundation set down, and then they work onto it depending on what they lose, who gets older, who gets younger, how they draft. So, you know, I don't know, sitting here on a Monday, middle of December, at 1-11-1, you make me feel pretty good as a Lions fan.
No, but I mean,
it's true.
You got to get past it, though.
Right, that's it. And then to your whole point is now we got it. That's why your draft capital, your argument of losing is so important.
No, and for Jacksonville, look, you look at their schedule, they play maybe one of the biggest games of the NFL as far as Lions fans are concerned next week when the Houston Texans roll into Jacksonville to square up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Huge game. Huge game.
So you're wanting Jacksonville to win that game?
I think so, because as I look at Jacksonville's schedule, they're at the Jets, at the Patriots, home versus the Colts, and the Colts will be in a situation where they're going to have to win, so they'll take it to them. Yeah, I mean, T-Foss, if ever we can get Jacksonville to rise up one time, and Urban Meyer can come through one time, because it looks like the wheels are ready to fall off of that car at any given second down there in Jacksonville.
Maybe, but let me caution you on something. You know, as far as Urban Meyer talking about his coaches, saying they're incompetent, that happens quite frequently in football, but we don't know about it. I used to cover Michigan football. And on Wednesdays, I met with Gary Moeller, who was an assistant at the time.
You were in the room?
I was in the room. Well, I was next to the room.
All right.
And Wednesday, they had their Wednesday morning meetings. And these dudes would scream at each other, talk about how incompetent they were. I've never, you know, you hear stuff like, I've never coached with someone as bad as you, blah, blah, blah. And they would just kill each other. Then they come out with their arms around each other's shoulders. Hey, what's up, buddy? You know, you're doing a great job and everything. So it gets heated in these meetings. The thing with Urban Meyer is I don't think Urban Meyer is an NFL coach. I never thought he was. He's a guy that if you give me talent, I'm going to kick your ass. But if you're asking me to be on the same playing field with you, then I'm going to have a little bit of a problem. Not going to be able to beat you. But now the stuff is coming out, and I believe in leaks. I think there are people who are looking at Urban Meyer
the foundation
and saying, you know what, this is not the guy. So we're going to leak out the little secrets to the public and see if we can destroy this product.
Right, and you do see that all the time, T-Foss, where media is alerted to certain things, and there is a purpose behind it.
When Rich Rod was the coach at Michigan, that was the first time I heard, he's practicing them too hard, and he had illegal practices. You never heard that with Michigan because they would make sure things like that never got out. But I'm convinced people in the athletic department are like, okay, Rich Rod is not the guy. We got to get rid of him. We're going to make sure that the stuff kind of leaks out for the first time in probably history.
Evan Brown's getting a lot of run, too, on our YouTube chat thread. Joey 2 times said Evan Brown's filled in nicely as Ragnall's replacement. Nice interior offensive line depth moving forward. And those, again, are the kinds of things. Evan Brown at $920,000 or Vaitai at $11 million. Which one of these things is a better value?
I want the guy that doesn't step on my quarterback in the red zone.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You see what I'm saying, though? Like, these are the Brad Holmes moves. And that's when you're going to win.
stepped on Goff on a second down yesterday in the red zone. And then I was reported on the radio that I didn't know this, but obviously when it's a shorter inside the red zone, the steps of the linemen have to be shorter. So that's just they were off. That's what I learned last night. It was great.
But see,
who do we blame for that?
Well, I mean, you answer that, D-Mac. Like who gets the blame in that situation?
I blame the offensive lineman.
Okay, smart.
Because a quarterback's going to step where he always steps, right?
Well, he's got to get the ball. You got to adjust to him, and you know that's continuity, and that goes to show different things that are going on. But to your point, those are the little things that when you clean those up, but good teams, you know, don't do stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, how about this? When the quarterback falls, don't act like one of those old commercials. Oh, I've fallen and I can't get up. The dude just laid there.
I get it.
Brother, get up. The play is still going. You know, in NFL, you're not down until somebody touches you. Jared Goff, when he fell down, was like, damn, this play is over. No, it's not. Get your ass up. Sorry.
You know, but the Lions did lose, and as we said, next week Arizona rolling into town. You would like to think that the Lions can take care of business next week and go ahead and take that L. And we'll see. We'll discuss the Monday Night Football game because it's big. I think there's some storylines to it, not only for the actual football part of it. Certainly the Lions draft situation is involved, which you know I'm all about as far as you know that's my sound and all that. But I don't believe, and until I see it, I'm not going to believe in the Arizona Cardinals, T. Foss. I'm just not. And I'm a big Kyler Murray guy. I'm a big DeAndre Hopkins guy. And the
we
problem,
talking playoffs you don't believe, or you just don't believe that they can come in here and win?
No, I believe they can come in here and win, certainly. It's just, I'm talking about more for tonight with the Rams. If the Rams win, this is obviously a big, big game. If the Rams win tonight in Arizona, it's back on in that division. That division race is as real as it gets.
But the Rams are a little bit more desperate, and sometimes desperation carries you a little bit further.
A little bit further,
we'll
it does.
Is this team over 500?
Who's that?
Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, you know the resume. You know Nine's resume against teams with winning records. Again, that's not me hating. You can go to Google and look it up, or you can just take our word for it that it's not a very good record. Like, that's what it is. But the problem for me with tonight's game is somebody's going to win, and then I got to hear how they're back or they're right. You know how we do this in the media. Oh, the Arizona Cardinals, they've exercised the demons. Here they go. Or Matt Stafford got to win over a 500 team on the road. They're back. It's going to be one of those two narratives.
Of course. But, the public wants something instant. The public wants something definitive. So I think the media is just giving the public what they want. But, sometimes we need to sit back and say, you know what? A team just won a game. They didn't send a statement. It doesn't mean they're all right. They just won a football game.
Right.
Sometimes we got to be smarter and say that.
MPWMU says, I told you Oliveira was going to choke out Poyer. And you did call that. I thought about you, MPWMU, when I was watching that fight. You did call that. And he did. He jumped on top of him, choked him out from that. That was textbook, man. It really was. It really was a textbook performance, and it was pretty quick. So it was a good night of fights, man. UFC was a good night of fights because I was at home watching it. You know what I had riding shotgun with me? A little bit of the gypsy. Yeah, a little bit of the gypsy sitting up in there. Had to, had to pop open the club soda, some ice cubes, a hit of the gypsy in there. It's Michigan's gluten-free vodka, 50 different formulas, countless taste tests. But Gypsy's the best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market. It's gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times, and uses artesian spring water. You can support.
Ooh-wee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. High class, but not a high-class price. So, again, Gypsy Vodka checks off all the boxes. Support local guys from right here in Michigan. Gypsy Vodka out of Petoskey. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by name, Gypsy Vodka. As always, drink responsibly.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Back out of here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Detroit sports media icon, T. Fost, Terry Foster in the building in the captain's chair as well. Joyce Bell will be back tomorrow. Sawyer's in the production booth. Fish is in the fishbowl as well, training some folks in the audio equipment here at Woodward Sports. Patty Grimes said, I told you the Rams will go 10-7. I hope you're right, Patty. I really hope that you are right. I'm concerned. I think the Rams are going to win today. I'm just not all the way live on the Cardinals. And it's not because Stafford, some anointed one, or the Rams don't have holes. It's just somebody's got to win tonight. And I think it's going to be the Rams. And T-Foss said, desperation sometimes plays a part. T-Foss, Mike G wants to know, says, T-Foss, can you educate Easy on how to get to the Sun Bowl?
Sure. The people have been bugging me about the Sun Bowl because I had a little story where, we had some company that accompanied us.
Hosts.
They were hosts, not escorts.
And you had excursions.
And I had excursions, went to Ores and drank and ate and saw funny things over there. It was a great. Now, Easy.
I saw funny things.
I need to take Easy to the Sun Bowl.
I think Easy would do very well in El Paso / Juarez. I think he would.
He would. Except I think they'd be afraid of him, though.
No, but I think once they broke down that barrier, T-Foss, I think he would do very well. I think he would. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I think he would have success down at the Sun Bowl.
He would have success. He would be popular. But I think they'd be afraid of him, though.
Last Monday's show, if you want to go back and hear T-Foss's excursion, soirees, whatever type of words you want to use. Just T-Foss's Tales from the Sun Bowl. I think you should make a podcast series, like just a 6-episode podcast series.
I got another story for you.
Oh,
if you got
man,
time.
yes, please.
Take it to one.
Mondays with Uncle T.
This is at the Hall of Fame Bowl.
Which is where?
1988 Tampa.
Tampa, okay.
Michigan and Alabama played for the very first time. And, what happened was Bo Schembechler was the coach, but he didn't coach in that game because he had bypass surgery. So the media and the players got to hang out with each other a little bit more. That big wall that Bo constructed wasn't there, so we were hanging out. So I was interviewing some Michigan players, and somehow we got on the subject of strip clubs because I said Tampa is the Tate capital of the world. They got all these strip clubs.
I've heard.
They're fun. And so
Scarlett O'Hara.
The bottom line is
Mons Venus.
I told one of the players, I tell you what, if you guys beat Alabama, we'll go to the strip club. And they're like, really? I said, yeah. I didn't really mean it at the time, but I got a tap. What happened the next day after Michigan did beat Alabama, the next day Michigan wasn't supposed to leave until 11:30 that night. So it gave him a day to hang out at the beach, to go shopping, and hang out at the strip club. So what I had planned to do that day, I write my follow-up stories and season-ending stories the day after the game. Well, I get a tap on my door at 8:30 in the morning. This dude named Billy Harris, Jamie Morris, John Colasar. It was like 5 players out there said, we're ready to go to the strip club. I'm like, oh, God. I said, I was sort of kidding. He said, no, you promised.
Yeah.
So we went to this place called a Space Odyssey, 5,000.
Oh, boy.
So we go there.
And this is 1988. You got
1988. So we're getting Tate-Tays in the morning.
Tate-Tays in the morning.
Then we eat lunch.
Yeah.
Then we get some more Tate-Tays.
Yeah.
And then we have dinner. And so then at one point I became a responsible adult. I looked at my watch and I went up to a table with the fellas and said, hey, guys, we got to leave. And they're like, why do we have to leave? Our flight's not until 11:30. I said, it's almost 9:30 now. They said, we've been in here for like 12 hours. I said, yeah, we've been in here for 12 hours. So the bottom line is they had to leave in the middle of their, some Tate's. Barely made the last bus to the plane, and they made their flight. And of course, if they had missed their flight and everything, all hell would have broken loose. So then the question would have been, well, where were you guys? We were at the beach. They would have lied.
Instead, the answer to why Michigan beat Alabama in their first meeting was Fost. Inspirational to the fellas.
And some Tate's.
Who would have thought to motivate some teenage young adult males would be to take them to the Tate's in Tampa Bay? So
I was joking when I said it, but I took the fellas there.
You're inspired. You made you a great column, Terry. I love it.
That's right.
It did. All you need to know, T-Foss, and our little YouTube channel chat thread, you can jump on in, tap on in anytime you want. Social media handles on the screen as well. As soon as you said that, Dom Rivera 88 says, "Oh blank, story time for T-Foss." Ha ha ha.
Yes.
People got locked in.
Hey, you know what? I could give y'all the story every show you want. I could.
We do.
Oh,
Thumbs up
my gosh.
for Terry's stories every
Juice's
Monday.
Ghost says T-Foss is right about Tampa. And Tampa has that reputation as a city.
Heard about
right.
that.
Yeah.
So everybody goes to Mons Venus. I don't go. I go to like the number 2 and number 3 clubs because, get a different view and, everybody's not going to be there. And I figure if we go to this place, everybody's not going to say, oh, look, it's the whole Michigan football team here.
I like how you said you referred to Mons Venus as a number 1. Mons Venus is number 4, bro. And Scarlett O'Hara's is the number 1. You want a Space Odyssey is the 2 or 3, but let's just say there's different rules depending on whether they serve liquor or they don't serve liquor. So Mons Venus doesn't serve liquor.
Man.
Well, here's the other thing as far as the Space Odyssey. If you get a woman to go up to the spaceship, they'll make sure that you leave with a smile on your face. That's all I got to say.
Oh, my gosh.
I think that spaceships everywhere, Terry.
I was in the wrong city last month. I was hanging out in St. Pete.
I think it's still there. When I was in Tampa like 3 years ago, I still saw the spaceship. Guys, go to the spaceship if you ever go to Tampa.
Historical history. You got to report back to Uncle T.
Right, whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And if you actually get into the spaceship, I guarantee you'll walk out with a smile on your face.
And anybody who gets the trifecta of breakfast, lunch, supper, and the spaceship, bring in your T-Foss card, and you'll get a special gift, take-home edition.
Yeah,
Terry
we
Foster
had
story.
lunch and dinner at the Tate Bar.
Hey, listen, we all know that some of the best food is at the Tate bars.
Right,
Chris Canoe says, the legend of T-Foss grows. This is amazing. People are all in on it. They're all up in on it. Don Davis, Florida's off the charts wild. Robert Closia says, strip clubs in Tampa Bay are open for breakfast. No wonder Florida man is nuts. Oh man, people love they love the stories, man. And tatas in the morning and evening, and tatas at supper time. When you hang with T-Foss, you get tatas anytime. So
and we almost missed an 11 p.m. flight. That's amazing.
Well, savvy veterans, when you travel a lot like that, you pack the bags before you leave.
There's a factor. Come on, we can go on a whole thing about making sure that's why you go back to your room just after the game, make sure the bags are packed and everything's ready.
You
to
get
go.
back after the game,
just in case you run into.
Well, in case you need to have a quick exit.
That's correct.
A grab and go. I mean, you need to have everything. It's like.
But that's in the Terry T. Foss. That's in the teaching manual, right? The professor's manual when you give it to the kids.
The young.
Yeah, that's what I'm teaching our young people today.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm trying to teach them that sports is a people business.
And
right?
And is it not? It absolutely is, Terry. And you're perfect. It's always been a people business, And that's, we're talking about stories from almost 30 years ago, but it makes it relevant because what Terry's talking about is the communication. Whether this time is between the media and the players, and you're talking about that wall being.
That's how you build relationships.
But that's it. That's what it's all about.
Juice's Ghost says, I got to feed the Michigan D-line breads to throw for Tay-Tays in New Orleans for New Year's one year. T Grizzly Bear, yo Terry, tell Aiden Hutchinson we're going to the strip club if he wins the Natty. So
all right, hey, might motivate him, man. He'll be ready to go. He'll have 12 sacks.
Canuck Duke, Windsor had the most strip clubs per capita at one point. So
I'll have to. You know what? Neil had known nothing about Windsor, so maybe one day Terry and I could educate him on it.
Maybe. So hey, you wake up and you wake up in the morning. You have your show prep set up and everything, and it was a great football weekend and all these things you're going to talk about. And T-Foss comes in, man, and just puts everything on his ear. The people demand that this is a regular segment.
Okay, we can do it. I probably could have 10,000 stories.
Every Monday.
Just
about 11:45ish.
Neil, all you gotta do is say, "Shoot,
T-Foss, you're on."
And I'll give you stories.
10,000 stories with T-Foss. There it is. Let's get a graphic. Sawyer.
None of them in the locker room.
We're too deep now.
And then we're gonna knock them down.
Yeah.
999.
We're number 2. This is number 2 of 10,000 stories with T-Foss.
Yep. I like it.
You want another tiny one from that same bowl?
Baby, yeah. A caveat. This is a caveat.
Because
hold on, can we do it when we get back from the break, T-Foss? Let's do it. Let's do it when we get back from the break, because I certainly want to give it its due time. You know what I'm saying? I certainly want to. And you know that we're stuffing the studio here at Woodward Sports. You can see the toys everywhere. We got the light bright going as well. Show me that you're a MIT competitor by building something on this light bright, because I certainly cannot. But Guardian Alarm and Myre, proud sponsors of the Stuff a Studio. We're collecting toys for Mott's Children's Hospital, 34915 Woodward Avenue. That's the studios here. We're right in the heart of Birmingham. Come on through all week this week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., whenever. Just walk in the door, and we'll see you. And bring a toy to help stuff this studio. We're trying to do it again. Last year, it was over $70,000 donated in toys, and the people at Mott told us that was the biggest donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. We were stunned. We're also fired up to beat that number again. And you guys know, we had a listener, Pete Smith, chime in, said he worked there when he was growing up in high school, and he said it hits different being in there as a parent. I feel the same way. So whatever that we can do here at Woodward Sports, we're going to do, trying to beat that $70,000 total. Some of these kids, people, and I'm just hitting you with reality here, some of those kids in Mott Children's Hospital have been there all year. Think about that for a minute. So let's blow up Christmas for them. I mean, that's at least that certainly we can do. I feel as though, have kids, they're healthy. I always feel as though I owe for that, and I think a lot of people would share that sentiment. So let's do that. Come through. Pull up on the Woodward Sports Studio, 34915 Woodward Avenue. We're right in the heart of Birmingham, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. all week. Pull up on us. Bring a toy for the Stuff a Studio. Brought to you by the good people at Guardian Alarm and Myre. We'll be back with more T-Foss. We got a bonus T-Foss story. Bonus T-Foss story. We'll be right back with it. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go!
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Pulling up on the second hour of the show, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, old Uncle T-Foss on the captain's chair, which we're about to get into in just a second. Fish is in the bowl. Sawyer in the production booth. Happy to have you all along for the ride here today. As all the YouTubers who my kids watch all the time say, smash that like button if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Big hello to everyone on radio, 93.5 The Roar, 99.1 FM, 94.7 WCSX HD2 as well. However you're consuming the show, we're certainly glad that you are. Remember the podcast page on iTunes, Big D Energy. Latest episode goes right to your phone. Boom, you're in there. You don't have to do anything. Boom. If you're lazy like me, it's perfect for you. T-Foss, you promised a story, a bonus story. You delivered.
A tiny bonus
a tiny bonus. We can't give away everything.
Story.
Yeah,
this
but
like
a tiny bonus story. I can't wait.
From
T-Foss.
the Hall of Fame. Now, the Hall of Fame Bowl with Michigan and Alabama, Bo did not coach the team because he stayed back in Michigan, had open heart surgery. So the media after the game were asking the players, was it a business-like approach you had all week heading to the Alabama game? Because if Bo was here, y'all would be under lockdown and everything. And all the players, no, it was the same as if Bo was here. I knew that was baloney. I knew that was baloney. So,
well, Dad was at home. Of course, we had to report back. Like, oh no, we locked.
I know
tight.
That's why we don't get the truth from the athletes sometimes. But I had a relationship with Jamie Morris, who was a running back then. I said, Jamie, is it true that y'all were just under lockdown, just like if Bo was here? He said, well, I tell you this. The first time we huddled up, the huddle smelled like beer. So that's all I need to tell you. So in other words, the fellows were partying, having a good time, but they won the game. And
you can do that. When you win, you can do whatever you want, T-Foss. That's the way life is.
I hear you.
That's the way that it works. But we've been talking a lot of football as well. Speaking of Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson finished a very solid second in the Heisman voting. Bryce Young certainly got the win in that. Kenny Pickett was up there as well. And look, we've done the bit. We've talked about the award show and no Kenneth Walker and things like that. But very solid T-Foss for that block M. Very solid for the Michigan brand to have Aiden Hutchinson out there. And it served its purpose. I think there was. Because, look, where I've been with it. I think they have to beat Georgia in order to validate it from a national perspective. From a national perspective, not a Big Ten perspective.
And
from a national
disagree
perspective.
On that. They just
that was a piece. That was a piece of
mollywopped.
validation, though. That was a piece of validation on Saturday night.
And they're probably going to beat Georgia because you know what, Georgia? You know what their reputation is?
They go Georgia gonna Georgia, man.
Yep. They're a little bit. They got a little choke in them.
Right.
And they might be. Remember. A week ago, we were talking, Georgia's defense. You can't penetrate that. Alabama just went through it like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, but you can also say is that's the worst thing that could have happened for Michigan is that Georgia got B-slapped by Alabama. So if they have anything in the tank, you're going to find out because they're going to play their best. They should play their best game of the season.
True. Or to flip it, you could have gotten exposed. And everybody looks okay. You're not impenetrable,
right?
You're not great.
You'll find out early, right? It gives Michigan confidence going in, but this is what should make it a great game because both teams should feel like they got something to prove, and both teams should feel like they're there and they should be able to win. I'm hoping Georgia has that attitude that it's the same old, and they find a way to choke it out. Michigan comes out, plays their best game. You want Michigan to win, but I think that, they know going in, if you're Michigan, that these guys are beatable, and if you're Georgia, you should be pissed off about the effort you had against Alabama because you could have sent a huge message, changed the narrative for your program like Michigan did, so I hope they continue to do it. I expect big things out of Michigan to keep this going if they're for real.
And that's the thing, too. Like, when I talk about validity, T-Foss, Georgia's fighting the same battle Michigan's fighting now.
Yeah, no, it's a great we're both programs, right? Really, this is a proving ground against each other. When you have this game, and I think that this is what makes the way the narrative is played out because of the Alabamas and who's the next team to face it. We thought Georgia all year long, like Terry said, the defense and they're number one. But you've been saying all along, Neil, Georgia's going to Georgia. Just wait for it. Georgia's going to Georgia. And sure enough, they did. So to your point, this is two programs meeting at a perfect time where Michigan can shoot off or Georgia can bury down to have, hopefully, revenge against Alabama.
Here's the thing. We are programmed to think the SEC, once you get into the playoffs, can't be beat.
That's right.
Maybe it's Alabama can't be beat. maybe that's the team that can't be beat. Georgia, I think they have to have things swimming in the back of their head, because what happened with Bama is like, okay, they say that we're overrated. Might be true, because it can work both ways. Yeah, they might be pissed off, but they also, you can send some shock waves into thinking, okay, we thought our defense was great, but what's the one thing Alabama attacked? Our defense. So now we feel vulnerable. We feel exposed. We feel like we're walking down the street with no pants on now because of what Bama did. And Michigan might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, but are you scared, or do you have intestinal fortitude to get yourself back up and be like we were in 96 into 97? You got to find a way to get over that hump. You know, you're not the class that was here before. This is your class. All that history is just history. Go out and play the game if you're supposed to be that good, right? That's why I think you should be motivated to change the narrative for Georgia, and you should be motivated for Michigan to go out there and know that they can be beat. You know,
but here's the difference between you guys and them. Georgia, these are children. Y'all were grown-ass men. So you knew what you were going to do.
Well,
you knew what you were capable of doing.
We were age-wise grown-ass men. I don't know if we were, but it was a learned thing. Is this something that Kirby? The one thing that hasn't changed is Kirby Smart, their coach. So has he learned? Can he instill that in them, the confidence? And you're right, they are. So in saying that, Terry, they should have short memories, right? It should have short memories and not worry about it. So, but I could see it play. Like there's so many different scenarios of how it plays out. So. What you're telling me is, wow, we should tune in the beginning of this game to see how both teams get off to it. Because if Georgia, this could be Georgia is that vulnerable early and Michigan comes out, but it makes for an exciting game. The more we talk about it, this should be the game that we want to see, where they got to prove to each other.
And that's where both these programs are kind of in similar footing right now. I would say Georgia is maybe a little bit further down the highway, but only by like one or two exits.
Here's the thing. I think this is so important for Jim Harbaugh personally, as the coach of Michigan, right? The Michigan program winning the Big Ten and stuff like this, but for 7 years of not an ineptitude or whatever you want to call it to get to this point, this would just help him move so much further. This game here to get to the national championship would mean so much more to Jim Harbaugh and I guess the naysayers. And I'm just looking at it personally how I view like to get that coaching job, because not only did he do what he needed to do, beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten, but then won a bigger game to get into that. And if you lose to Alabama, who's Nick Saban, the perennial the machine you got there, that's something to build on. And I think that, you know, right there is why you see nationally why Jim Harbaugh was selected as the AP
You know
coach
what
of the
I
year.
would do? If I'm Jim Harbaugh and I beat Georgia and Alabama,
you
know what I do? I put my bags on Ward Manuel's desk and say, I want my money back.
No, Terry,
Fill these bags.
I'll even do you better. He beats Georgia, he gets the bag before the Alabama game. That's where, right, because to whatever else, or because his power only goes sort of up, but the renegotiation to him betting on himself, that's the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate. But you're right. He's going to get the bag, but I think he gets the bag regardless, but a bigger
not the
bag,
brother,
Georgia.
the bags, as in plural.
The bags, plural. No, but T-Fost, can I convince you at all? Because D-Mac, I think you're starting to come to my side where you sense this starting to build now. Like, I know everyone was euphoric about winning the Big Ten championship and all that, and beating Ohio State. They were euphoric through all that. Now I think we've seen some recalibrating a little bit. I think there's more build-up to the point that I'm trying to make, to where if you lose to Georgia, does it take away your win over Ohio State? No, it doesn't.
No,
does it take away your Big Ten championship? No, it doesn't. But nationally, what's going to be the narrative nationally? If you lose to Georgia, what's the narrative going to be?
Same old.
It's just a different Big Ten team. It's just a different Big Ten team that we get to beat. That's all it is.
Which, to that point, when you beat an SEC team,
I disagree.
Okay, T-Foss, break it down.
Now, if they lose by 30 to Georgia, you're absolutely right. But if we have a real football game where it's like 37, 34, something like that, Michigan loses, I don't think it's the same narrative. I think the narrative now is the Big Ten cannot compete with the SEC teams. I think if you lose a short game, it's like, yeah, the SEC is still better, but Michigan came in here and
See, I don't
they
think
can compete.
T-Foss. That's not the way they operate down there, man.
Are you,
Like,
are
they're
you saying
about
they're
wins.
dumb rubes?
No. I'm saying they're about winning. That's it.
I know, but they disrespect the Big Ten so little. They expect, if Georgia doesn't win by 4 touchdowns,
their
they're
fans will
saying,
be upset.
Whoa, what the hell is going on here?
Their fans will be upset. But it's at this point, it's just a win. It's a win, all or nothing proposition. You either win or you lose. Like we're not at style points right. Like you're playing. It's what I said before. You're playing for all the chips in the middle of the table right now, and you don't get a second place.
I know, but this is the D. Why do we care what some rube in Louisiana or Florida or Alabama thinks?
Because they both come as a package deal. T-Foss. If you win, then you get a little bit more of that respect nationally. But if you lose, you're just another Big Ten team that went in there and was feed, was just feed for the SEC, the almighty SEC.
Right,
That's what it is.
They don't look at it like, oh, there's a team. Is that who's repping the Big Ten that we're going to beat the crap out of until you prove that you beat the crap out of. Maybe they'll say in the back of their mind, to Terry's point, 37-34. They won't say out loud. Maybe in the back of their mind, they'll go, oh, maybe we got
it was a little tougher.
Little tougher.
But you know how they would say that, though? They'd be like, oh, you guys were a little more spunky this time.
Why do people still make fun of Michigan State football when it comes to the college playoffs? Wasn't the fact that they lost to Alabama. It was the fact that they got undressed by Alabama. That was the rub, and that's why people make fun of Michigan State football. If they had lost that game 48-45, we wouldn't be saying, ha, 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 Spartans. We'd be saying, hey, man, they competed. They were right in there. But the reason that Michigan State falls so much sometimes is when they have a big victory, they don't lose the next week. They get their butts handed to them next week.
Mollywop, as a good friend of mine likes to say.
For instance, I always bring up the 1989 Michigan and Michigan State team. Michigan State beat Michigan and should have been in a position to go to the Orange Bowl because I think Ohio State was going to the Rose Bowl. But what happened after that, Michigan State followed that up with back-to-back 20 and 30-point losses to like Wisconsin and Purdue or something like that. So Michigan leapfrogged them again. So State could say, yeah, but we beat your ass. And Michigan's like, yeah, but you shouldn't have lost those combined games by 50 points. So we're ahead of you again. Same thing happened this year. Yes, State beat Michigan. And what did State turn around and do? Let Purdue pass for like 1,000 yards on them, and then all of a sudden they're looking behind Michigan's butt again.
Yeah, it can't just be hot and cold all the time.
No, it can't
be
hot and cold, but if it is, you know what? You could start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. Tell them T-Foss, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Big D Energy on this Monday. We'll see you in a minute. Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Back at it here. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, motoring through hour number 2 of the show. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. T-Foss, Terry Foster in the captain's chair as well. Fish and Sawyer here rocking out. We did have someone ask in the YouTube chat thread, and it slid through too quickly for me to attribute it to the proper sources. But, you know, there was a little bit of sidebars. We're kind of wrapping up the Heisman discussion, which spun into Michigan, Georgia. Bryce Young, 684 first-place votes. It was a mollywhopping, as T-Foss likes to say. Aiden Hutchinson, a very comfortable second. It was interesting to me, Will Anderson, the linebacker for Alabama, got the third most first-place votes. You know, this guy had more sacks than Hutchinson and all that kind of. I mean, he had a great year, too. And, you know, he kind of seemed to fall under the rug for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, too, is when you see, like, a sophomore guy or a guy that's not coming out in the draft, right? A lot of times, too, is he's got another year and stuff like this and probably playing at Western Kentucky. And is that where he played?
Alabama.
Or Alabama.
Yeah.
But just being, you know, the fact that he's not out. But some of the games, I mean, you see, what is he in the backfield 31 times? You know, like this,
I mean, crazy numbers. He had a sack in every game since October 9th. At least one sack. I mean,
talk about that, Terry. If a guy like in college, is that more because you don't see that in the NFL or whatever? Is that something impressive? Does that get your attention?
It is impressive, but I will say this. Sometimes you're going up against a guy who in 2 or 3 years is going to be working at Burger King. Or you might be, against a guy that's never going to make the NFL. This is his last games as a player. So, yeah, I'm impressed, but it all depends on who you're going up against. That plays a factor in also. But one thing I want to say about the Heisman is what the Heisman is turned into, we probably shouldn't get so upset about who makes it and who doesn't make because it is a popularity contest. The Heisman is more on guys who are not able to watch as much college football because most sports writers are covering football games and they're not watching all these other games being played. So they may not know who the top players are. Hutchinson got into the Heisman for one game. It's a game against Ohio State. That was it. People before then, they knew who he was, but not really. They didn't know who Aiden Hutchinson was. I'm talking about nationally. That's why I'm saying we don't care what national people think because they hop aboard late in seasons and stuff, and they don't know who these players are. So the Heisman, more than the other awards, is a popularity contest.
Well, it's a joke. We know it's a joke, and it sort of goes along with the joke of the NCAA and the eyeball tests and the Enron or the energy guy controlling it. It's the same thing because how do you have Kenneth Walker win 2 prestigious awards, and not be there, right? So I mean that I guess they're consistent. The NCAA is consistent no matter what they do. Inconsistent.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
There's too many voters now for the Heisman.
Well, to Terry's point, too many voters that go, oh, okay, so they don't watch the game or whatever.
No, yeah,
maybe there
that's
should
the problem.
Maybe there should be a committee, and I wouldn't mind if the energy guy was on the committee that voted that had to watch all the games, right? Give 10 guys or 12 people, to watch the games, and then maybe I would have more of a dog in the fight or pay more attention if they, when they had the national, every Tuesday they had the rankings come out, but they also had the Heisman race or poll or what they're thinking of the same people, and they talk about, why these guys, watch out for these guys, look for this guy or that guy, but it'd be consistent, right?
Yeah, I can speak in firsthand experience. I used to have a Heisman vote. They gave me the Heisman vote when I was covering college football. But guess what? If I went to a noon game, I was watching that game and none of the other noon games around the country. I had to go to the locker room, had to write my stories, and a lot of times I would walk out of the stadium like at 6:30. Couldn't get in front of a television until maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock because there was always traffic no matter what game. So I would miss the noon games and the 4:30 games, and I would try to watch highlights. That's how I watched it. Once I stopped covering college football, guess what? I got to watch more college football games. So I would watch the noon games, watch the 4:30 games, watch the 7:30 games. And I wasn't like Neil watching the 1 o'clock games over in Guam, but I was watching more college football.
Well, halfway to Guam. Hawaii's about halfway to Guam.
Okay,
right?
wherever it is.
No, there is. There's too many voters now, and that's where it is. Like I saw, and it's really hard. I know that I was told there's 25 people in the state of Michigan that vote for the Heisman, and I was curious. I'm having a hell of a time finding out who the people are. I've been looking for it periodically when I have a couple minutes to spare, and you can't find a clear-cut list, and that's always been my problem too with it.
I can guess it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could. Does Mitch have a vote?
No, it's probably 2 writers from the Free Press and 2 writers from the News, Matt Charbonneau, Angelique Chingelis, and then whoever covers Michigan State for the Free Press. Then probably some writers from M Live. They probably count Desmond Howard. I I don't know if Charles Woodson. Yeah, Charles Woodson
he has
probably
a vote.
has a
He
vote.
won it, yeah.
Right. So because
Which
he won it,
I'm cool with. You know?
I was trying to say I don't know if Braylon Edwards has a vote or is, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I mean that's probably like 8 people right there, and then they usually give it to some fat ass that's outstate, some sports editor for the Petoskey McGillicuddy Mining Journal, because they've been in the business for 40 years, so they give them a Heisman vote, but they rotate it. So they'll let them keep it for 4 or 5 years, and then rotate it to another fat ass. So that's the way it usually works.
Mike G says, did Matt Charbonneau vote for K9 for the Heisman? And, I don't know. I don't know what Matt's I know Matt's hard to play poker against. He's a really good poker player, I will say that. But, that's the other thing that really bothers me, T. Foss, is I think all the ballots in every vote in every sports award should be public. You should have to come to the table with logic and reasons as to why you voted it.
Or at least or at least
be accountable.
Be accountable for it. I mean, I don't have to agree with you, but if you have a reason, they give you a vote. So at least maybe if it's not, they could take your vote away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dave, and like we know who the characters are, but most of the time. But there are 25 voters in the state of Michigan for the Heisman. That feels like too many, T. Foss. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
That feels like too many. I know. At one time there was 4 at the Dayton Daily News alone. 4 at the newspaper in Dayton. It's too many.
That's a little ridiculous.
So it's just I have a problem with it. And again, if you want to have that many people, then make it all public. I voted in things like Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. I've talked about it on the air. More than happy to talk about it on the air because
but they don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to say who you voted for.
Yeah, which I never understood. What would get your little award talked about more than discussing who you voted?
Right, absolutely.
Now, is it about who's not? Is it because it's the participation cancel culture? You can't mention somebody you voted for because why didn't you vote for that person?
I'm sure.
Stupid.
Well, if you say who you voted for, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
but
Nick says that in our
boys.
YouTube chat thread. He says, this day and age, there'll be pitchforks if you make it public. Well, then if you can't stand there and explain why you voted the way you did, then maybe you shouldn't have a vote.
Or maybe you didn't believe in your vote. If you believe in your vote and you believe wholeheartedly, I put the research in, I thought long and hard about this, I don't care if people know. I'll stand up for my vote.
I'll give you the reasons.
Right.
I do that every day here on the show. I'll tell you why I think what I think.
Accountability.
I tell you what the NBA used to do. They used to try to talk you into changing your vote. For instance, if a guy is 2 votes away from being a unanimous selection, they'll call the 2 people that didn't vote for him and say, hey, we're close to a unanimous thing. Would you change your vote?
Baseball does that all the time.
Yes.
In everything. Owners' meetings, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I listened to David Sampson's podcast a lot. He was a GM for the Marlins back when they won the World Series and helped get the new stadium built down there. And he would talk about that all the time at owners' meetings. If it were a labor deal or a new television deal, they'd vote. And I forget the number. You have to have 21 votes or 23 votes to have something. They do a voting, and it'd be 24-8 or 24-6, whatever it is. They would then say, okay, we have 24 votes for, 26 votes again. We'll re-vote again, and then everyone magically votes for it. Yeah. And then it becomes unanimous. So when you go to the media, then you go to the media and you say the owners unanimously voted.
Right. I never believe that.
Because they never did.
It's because you're smart, Terry. It's because you're smart.
You can't get all owners to agree on one thing. You can't get society to agree on one thing.
Pete Smith asked a couple of questions. Number 1, does Archie Griffin get 2 votes? Because he won it twice?
I believe he gets 1 vote.
Okay.
We don't vote twice in this country, of course.
And then he says, does the Heisman Committee have an AOL email address account like the Baseball Writers of America?
You probably do.
But speaking of the Heisman, a local Heisman winner got in some trouble during the Heisman ceremony, which we will talk about when we come back. He didn't keep things simple, D-Mac.
No, you know what? Because, guys, we're a simple bunch. We like Sunday football in the feel of a TV remote in the palm of our hands. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Listen, you can walk in, sit down, sign up, and before you know it, you're in one of those luxurious chairs with one of the fine hairstylists at Lady Jane's, and there's a TV in front so you can watch whatever you want. Yeah, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 7 days a week, 10 to 8. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Big D Energy, T. Foss, Neil Rule, D. Mac, Woodward Sports Network. Be right back.
Big D.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
We're back at it. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name's Neil Rule. That's not winning. Joik is Darren McCarty. T. Fost, Terry Foster of Sun Bowl fame, of Tampa morning life and nightlife fame. You know who he is. T. Fost, Terry Foster in the house. Fish in the bowl. Sawyer in the booth as well. Happy to have you along for the ride. But we've been talking Heisman, and there was a very cringeworthy moment during the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and Desmond Howard has come under some fire, and we'll play the audio for you guys. We'll play the audio for it, and you guys can kind of drum up your own thoughts if you missed it. Here's Desmond Howard with C.J. Stroud, the little exchange they had during the Heisman ceremony.
You know, the main mission was to come back, was to beat Ohio State and win a Big Ten championship. And
hey, Kenny, I'm glad you're in between them.
That's good. And you know,
please stay there.
Better than his offensive lineman.
Just
okay. Throw him under the bus.
And you know, we did those things, so now we're in the playoffs, so we got a chance.
You ever hear a room go more cringe more than that right there? Desmond Howard throwing his offensive lineman under the bus.
Yeah, but why do you have Desmond Howard doing that interview? Why? Why do you have Desmond Howard predicting who's going to win between Michigan and Michigan State or Michigan and Ohio State? We already know what he's going to say. He's going to pick Michigan no matter what. You know, that's why, you know, in situations like that, I'm not saying you need someone completely neutral, but you don't need a butt boy up there saying, hey, you know, my guy's up here. We need somebody a little bit more professional than that.
Yeah, and you know, T-Foss, I'm for that stuff. Like, I like that stuff. I really like when team social media accounts throw shade at another team when something happens. I like that stuff. Yeah, like, it's fun. They come up with great ways. And Braylon Edwards said this best yesterday when we were doing the Lions pregame show for Motules. And this is Braylon Edwards, you know, Biletnikoff winner, Michigan guy, as much cred as you can have in the game of football. He said, look, Aiden's my guy, obviously. Desmond's my guy. But he said to the effect of, that's something you say at the Home Depot College Football Awards or the ESPYs or something like that. You say it then. You don't say it when you're at the Heisman Award ceremony when all those guys are out there on the stage. Because what's C.J. Stroud supposed to say to that? You know, what's he supposed to say? Desmond Howard did tweet out, I would like to apologize to everyone who doesn't have the ability to recognize fun, good-natured ribbing among college football rivals.
So
CJ is good, we good, and that's all that matters to me. Everyone can relax and enjoy the rest of their night.
So that's not an apology.
No.
It's just bad time. You know, so Braylon it's just time and place. It's the wrong place to do it on national television for the Heisman. Is it because it disrespected what the Heisman is supposed to be, which is a joke anyways? You know what I mean? I don't agree that he shouldn't have said it because that's not the time and place like that.
Yeah, you can say that, not there.
Right. And that's what Braylon was saying.
To me, T. Foss, that's almost like, you know, if you're the best man at a wedding and you talk about the time the groom was with one of the bridal party girls back in high school or something like that. Like that's what that seemed like to me.
The bride. That happens.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you do that at the bachelor party, you know, or something. Like read the room, man.
Or just keep it to yourself forever.
Yeah. Canuck Duke says Desmond's still a clown for that one. Rid says, read the room, Desmond. Juice's Ghost, yeah, he's right. Maybe not the best time to say that. And again, I'm not against that type of stuff. I'm not. But I am at the Heisman Award ceremony. That's my point.
Right, that's more of an interview when you're sitting down one-on-one and you're sort of like, and you get it in where you could say they're back and forth jibe, and you can see some interviews or whatever where there's a comfortability, and then you go there about that. You know where he says that and he goes, "Hey, come on, man, I'm not gonna talk about that." Yeah, I know, dude. I had to go there. Ha ha ha. Right, because it's that everybody saw it. The elephant in the room or whatever, but it's time and place. When do you bring it up?
Nick says, just stick to the script. At some point, T-Foss, you got to remind people, man, just stick to the script.
Or maybe the Heisman has become the Home Depot Player of the Year thing,
Yeah, so just wanted to touch on that. Some people were asking about it. Over the weekend, D-Mac, Red Wings, now losers of 3 straight, didn't look good in Colorado.
Riding that train.
Yeah.
Geez, it's up and down. It is. And the inconsistency on the road. I guess I'll be honest. Yeah, I was actually out with Simo doing something with the Hawks, doing golf, and we posted it. But Darren Helm got a breakaway for Colorado and scored. So I popped for it. I love D. Helm. Everybody here does. He was such a great player, big player for those guys. But yeah, the inconsistency in the goaltending, as great as it's been, has sort of let them down. But they haven't played well. I think that, even the Colorado game we're talking about the other night, they get down by 3, they get it back to within 2, and then they just sort of shut down. So what I've been talking about all year, the inconsistency and not playing a 60-minute game, is coming back to bite them. So I guess Tyler Bertuzzi will be back in the lineup on Tuesday. We'll see what else. But again, this is sort of getting into those days of summer that you watch them go with the inconsistency where they lose. What did I say? They can put 5 in a row together, but look, they got 3 in a row, and they got to snap these losing streaks, and they're going to be up and down in the standings. And the unfortunate thing is they're going to get themselves fallen and get too far behind to be able to catch up. So again, I say that inconsistent, but I expect them to come out at home where they play well and use home ice to the advantage. So hopefully there's a good crowd down there, and it's time for them to bounce back. Bertuzzi in the lineup will help. But, yeah, disappointing.
And Mike says it very well, I think, on the YouTube chat thread. Grice was like Swiss cheese, and that's been the problem, D-Mac, for the games that I've seen. And, look, play 80-plus games. You're going to get cooked in 7 or 8 of them. You're going to cook the other team in 7 or 8 of them. But those games like that, especially, too, you can recover when you do those types of things against Buffalo or somebody like that. You can't be on the road in Colorado and give them 2. You're not coming back.
No.
That's it. Period.
It's too bad, especially when you give them 3 and then you get it back to 1. But it's just you can see it because the game's not – they're not playing 60-minute game, but they're not playing together all over the ice. It's too sporadic at times. But again, that's the youth. That's the difference between them being a playoff team and a not playoff team. So here's the question, Monday morning question: are they a playoff team right now?
Yeah, and
I
they
say
weren't
no.
before. Yeah, but they weren't before. Even when they were
they
were in the winning streak, you and I both said,
to week. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But they have the ability. It's just fighting with that consistency.
But you talking about week to week? They're different from period to period.
No, I understand.
But that's youth, though, Terry, right? I mean,
I understand.
across
Sometimes
the board.
I look at these guys and say, damn, they looking pretty good. Then you go make a ham sandwich, and they're down 2 goals. And then you make another ham sandwich, they're up a goal.
Yeah, Myron
and
Kidd
then they
says,
lose by 4.
Myron Kidd says Colorado is a beast team. We'll see if that can finally materialize in the playoffs. And that for me, Terry, you know me. Like, I know you. You know me. Like, that's how I always present it. Like for Michigan, what are you going to do against Georgia? You beat Ohio State. What are you going to do against Georgia? For me with the Red Wings, you're a young team. You're growing. Probably not there yet. But that's how I gauge things because that's who the best is. Colorado's the best. They're going to break through and win a Stanley Cup fairly soon, in my opinion. I think you would agree with that, D-Mac.
You know what? Like the time is now.
Yes, the time is now. They got as good a chance as anybody. Hockey's a little different, but
hockey's a little different.
It's a little different, but they're there.
But yeah, when you look at if you're going to put money on on somebody to win, I would. That's one of my betting teams that I picked before.
But T-Foss, like that's how I gauge it. Where are you really? because that's the brightest lights. And we're seeing as the Red Wings play Colorado and they're on the road at St. Louis and things like that. They're struggling right now.
Right. But, Darren and I have talked about this, that, there's going to be times where you're going to ascend to a certain level and you're going to say, okay, they're here. But you always take a step back. I mean, like, the ascension to a championship team isn't a straight line. And it seems like every team aspiring to be a championship team reaches a certain level, and then they come down, and then they plateau for a little bit, and then go back up. So now the Red Wings have to find their, ascension again. They have to get their booster rockets going again, and maybe that comes with playing a few games at home, because that usually gives young teams confidence, and they feel better at home. But you got to go on the road eventually. So.
Yeah, it's just they're not there yet in terms of being a playoff team. And to your credit, D-Mac, and you and I were kind of in lockstep about that. Even when they were riding high and everybody thought, wow, they're back and all that stuff, we kind of did look into the camera and say, take a look at what's coming up here pretty quickly. And there's some teams on the schedule that can beat you back down into reality, and they did.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so much to it, and Terry brings up a great point. It's not a linear or the rise. It doesn't just go out, take off like a rocket ship. You got different peaks and valleys throughout the way, but it's believing into it, and that's why the consistency of bringing the effort night in, night out. When I see more of the 60-minute game to put together, Terry's absolutely right. Down 2, go to the bathroom, up 1, this, that. But that's part of Terry. That's part of the process, right? To get to the next level is to being here and at least are exciting or entertaining, frustrating, yes. But at least we know, like I use the ship analogy, the ship's out in the ocean. We're going to hit land sooner or later. It's just sometimes it's going to storm.
and it's storming right now. There is no question. Red Wings will be in action tomorrow at LCA. New York Islanders coming into town. Then they're on the road at Carolina. Then the Devils are coming in. Then the Avalanche are coming in. And they go on a road trip between Christmas and New Year. So it ain't getting any easier, man. It's not. So we'll keep an eye, certainly, on the Red Wings as things roll on. Remember, Woodward Sports, your home for Detroit Lions game day coverage. 11-1 this week. We're back downtown, Tin Roof in Detroit, as the Arizona Cardinals stopping by Ford Field. The Lions versus Cardinals pregame show brought to you by Jose Cuervo and Woodward Sports. Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, Maz, and Jade from WRIF will host a pregame live on Woodward Sports and 101.1 WRIF. Great time hanging out there with Jade and the folks at 101.1 The Riff, Steve Black as well. I had a cocktail after with everybody. It was, it was a good time. So it was a lot of fun out there as well. Like I said, T-Foss, I'm glad you weren't there because it had the potential to go one way, and instead we did the responsible thing and went the other way.
Maybe I would have been responsible too. You never know.
Maybe. Or maybe we would have booked a trip to the Sun Bowl. Who
could
knows?
Happen too.
Anything's in play with you. Stick and Anson, the post-game show, and they are live at the Brass Rail from downtown Detroit. They'll start broadcasting a 2-minute warning after every Detroit Lions home game. That's brought to you by Jim Beam and Truly and Woodward Sports. There's DJ's Drinks, a Woodward VIP section with food and more. Make sure you stop by after every Lions home game. Your home for Detroit football is at the Brass Rail.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
Coming down the stretch here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, T-Foss, Terry Foster in the house. Sawyer is in the production booth. Fish has his Grey Cup hoodie on. Unfortunately for him, it is a Ticats hoodie. I tried to warn you, Fish. I did, man. I got everybody right on Winnipeg.
I know you tried to warn me. I was well aware.
Hey, it took diamond hands, though, to hold on to that one.
It was not easy.
Hamilton gave him one with that rouge in the end zone.
They got a 15-6 fourth quarter. That definitely helped them.
Yeah, it certainly did.
And that idiot that kneeled at 24-22.
For the rouge.
Not smart.
It wasn't. It wasn't a smart year. AC says, I love this show, LOL. So, hey, appreciate it, man.
By the way, did you enjoy the Canadian overtime? Because I love it. Why don't they do it in the NFL?
Well, they just go straight, get the possession, mandatory 2-point conversions?
Yeah, well, they start at the 30. It's like college. They start at the 35, and then they try to score. Why don't they do it in the NFL? That would alleviate ties.
What do you think? Do you like the NFL overtime, T-Foss?
Yes, because it's like a real football game. You have to score a touchdown to end it. If you don't, you just keep rolling. So I'm okay with it.
Speaking of that, did anybody else see Tom Brady's 700th touchdown pass in overtime go to Brashard Perriman?
To win the game.
Wait, he was here, right?
He was.
Oh, okay.
I have a philosophy about that.
Oh, wow.
You know,
T-Foss philosophizing.
We were complaining about the Lions have no wide receivers. I thought Brashard Perriman got cut because he was too good. They wanted to make sure that they were tanking for the season. So, Neil, that may have been you making that decision.
T-Foss, I can neither confirm nor deny that. It was a minimal financial risk. And that was, that's something that people have been critical about Holmes for, like the Trinity Benson deal and the Brashard Perriman.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they were scraping off lottery tickets at that point.
Right.
There was no risk. I mean, it did be in a net, 5th or 6th round pick for Trinity Benson. They took a swing, man. It's $2 million investment with Perriman. It's gone. They write the check. It's over. There's no obligation. I don't have a huge problem with it. You're so devoid of talent at that spot. What else were you going to do, man? You had to try to do something.
I think they wanted to make sure they remained devoid or void at that spot.
T-Foss, Don Davis wants to know, what's the name of that 8:30 a.m. Tate Club in Tampa? Again, I'm asking for a friend.
Oh, it's Space Odyssey 5000 or 5000 A Space Odyssey. It's on Del Mabry Road.
Everything's on Del Mabry.
It's less than 5 minutes from the airport. Dude, you could fly in, go there, be on the plane, be back home same day.
Layover.
Oh, yeah.
You could do it on a layover, too.
Sure.
I've done that before. I saw somebody on our YouTube chat threads watching in Deerfield Beach. I go down to Lauderdale a lot for work. Sometimes I connect through Tampa to go home.
I'm sure they'd love to have you.
No, I'm just kidding, everybody. All my wife's friends that I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, we don't do that anymore. We're married. And that's for young guys.
Pistons lost yesterday to the Nets. Cade Cunningham did have 26 points. That's 12 in a row for the Pistons. Kevin Durant had 51. Broke Blake Griffin's Little Caesars Arena scoring record in the game, I was told. Frank Jackson had 25, but no Jeremy Grant. He's out for the foreseeable future, a minimum of 6 weeks. It'll be longer than that. But torn ligaments, sprained ligaments in his thumb, in his shooting hand. So obviously that's no bueno. But somebody asked in the chat thread, and I want to run this by you, T-Foss, because you covered the Pistons. You were in a 30 for 30.
I was in the room.
You were in the room. In the long game, do you think Jeremy Grant's injury will help speed along the development of Cade Cunningham? Because he seems to be taking on this role. And look, there's just not the horses around him. But I'm getting more and more comfortable with Cade Cunningham as the season progresses here. He's really taking a step forward.
I'm fine with Jeremy Grant being injured. And here's why. I don't think Jeremy Grant is here to win basketball games. I think Jeremy Grant is here to show I could be a top option. I'm here showing the league what I can do. He takes ridiculous shots. Sometimes he gets hot and makes them. But I don't think he's a guy that came here to win. I think he's a guy that came here to showcase himself. What Cade Cunningham needs, he needs a vet that can show him not only what to do during crunch time, but explain the league to him. It takes a while to understand the NBA, the players, the mentality, and stuff like that. And you can't learn that from your coach or an 80-year-old assistant. It has to be somebody who's like 33, 34, 35, who's been in the league, who understands the politics of the NBA and everything. Cade Cunningham needs that guy to show him how to get through here. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, last year the Pistons, played hard. They were competitive and everything. But what did they have last year they didn't have this year? They had Derrick Rose. They had Blake Griffin. Now, Blake Griffin was broken down, couldn't play, couldn't jump and everything. But Blake Griffin was a professional. And what I'm talking about, what the Pistons need is somebody in that locker room or somebody on the sideline explaining things to Cade Cunningham, and because he is going to be the face of this franchise. They didn't bring Cade Cunningham in here to put up 26 or 28 points. They brought Cade Cunningham in here to win. Now, he needs somebody to show him how to win.
Like an Adrian Dantley type thing? You did the 30 for 30 about that.
Dantley may not be. Adrian Dantley was a little bit selfish and to me, he's like Jeremy Grant from the standpoint, I want to showcase what I can do, and I'm not certain if winning was his number one priority. You know who I like? And you can't get him, JaVale McGee from Phoenix, because he learned from his mom, Pamela McGee. His dad played basketball. He's been with a bazillion teams. He's a professional guy, and he can help you with rim protection and stuff like that. But I'm looking at him more as the guy that Cunningham sits on his lap and learns how to be a professional.
T-Fost. Oh, go ahead, D-Mac.
Sorry, who is that with the? Is that more like a Mahorn? More like
for Isaiah Thomas, it was more. There's a guy named Lionel Hollins who you
right
that we don't remember, but he talked to Isaiah a lot. I think Isaiah was in Mahorn's ear more than Mahorn was in Isaiah's ear. But Isaiah also had Will Robinson, who didn't play for the Pistons, obviously, but he was an old-time coach, and he explained to Isaiah constantly on how to win in this league. Because the Pistons at that time, they weren't interested in winning championships. They just wanted to win their games and be competitive and try to get people to come to the Silverdome. But Isaiah was the one that instilled to them, I'm here to win titles. That's it. So I think Will Robinson and a guy named David Greenwood explained to Isaiah more about the league and how to compete and do that kind of stuff.
We need to get Isaiah on here one of these days to talk about that. Maybe a little bit later on.
Sounds
as the season rolls on, because I would like to pick. I always wanted to ask him the question too. Why are you sold short as one of the greatest to ever do it in the NBA? Why?
He'll say because I was with the Pistons, and the way the league was supposed to work, we were supposed to have Magic versus Bird, and that big whole thing play out. Then after that, it was supposed to be the Michael Jordan era. Well, the Pistons kind of got in the way of things. They had their little 3, 4, 5 year period where they were champions or contending for champions, and they prevented Michael Jordan from taking over the mantle from Bird and Magic. So I think he'll feel that there was some bitterness, and also Isaiah didn't always do it the nicest way, because I think he realized that in order for the Pistons to be competitive, for the Pistons to be that next team, you had to add the jerk factor in. You had to knock some folks down.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Do some things that people didn't want to do.
That he doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking a franchise and a city on his back, because that's what he did, T-Fost.
That is true.
He put him on his back and delivered.
He didn't do it the way that the league way, the way he was supposed to do it, right? They did.
You couldn't do that
right.
here. T-Fost couldn't have done that here. There's 1,100 people at the Silverdome at a game. Empty locker room of talent.
Right.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it that way.
Right.
You had to go in
and
take charge.
Silverdome also. There's this gas company that literally gave away tickets. You can go there.
Taco Bell used to. As a little kid. Taco Bell did. Yeah.
Fill up your tank. You get a ticket, or 2 tickets.
Yeah.
So they were begging people to come watch him play.
He did. He took an entire franchise on his back, an entire city on his back, and delivered over and over and over. Any way you want. Finals, All-Star Game MVP, Finals MVP, back-to-back championships, beat Jordan, beat Magic, beat Bird. There's nothing he didn't accomplish in the game of basketball,
and you're
he sold
forgetting
short.
what he did behind the scenes. Once again, taught a franchise, or at least told a franchise, I'm not here to win games. I'm here to win championships. That mentality was not with the Pistons. We love Chuck Daly now, but when he was hired, Chuck Daly was a failure of a coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
So I think Isaiah Thomas had to instill into them the championship atmosphere. You know, the Pistons would have been without Isaiah Thomas. The Utah Jazz,
the Atlanta Hawks,
the
Dominique
Utah
Wilkins
Jazz.
Atlanta Hawks,
Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
No, it would have been team. We won our 50 games. We don't care what happens in the playoff. We're good.
We're the 3 seed. We win a round or two.
Right. Stockton and Malone. We scored a bunch of points.
Elbow people in the face and bust them open and get off scot-free.
Right. Yeah, Karl Malone gave Isaiah 90 stitches.
Yeah.
If you Google it, it'll only say 40 stitches. It was 90.
You were in the room.
I got that from his wife.
Yeah.
And that's another story for a Monday for Team Fost. But by the way, if I know anything that we're talking about, if we're talking football, hockey, baseball, it doesn't matter because, guys, Guardian Alarm, they definitely get it. A good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm is state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe. All with 24/7 monitoring right from your phone. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home. You control your lights, your temperatures, lock, unlock your doors. If it's on fire, it'll detect smoke or even that deadly silent killer, carbon monoxide. So if you want to be a part of the Guardian Alarm family, all you have to do is call 1-800.
Stay out.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Need some harmonies for the people in the back and anybody at roast that can't hear. 1-800.
Stay out.
Get out of my house. Get away.
Get away from the fishbowl. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years of keeping families safe. We trust them so much that they will be delivering all these gifts in the Guardian Alarm vans to make sure all the kids at Mott's Hospital get these next week. That's how good they are. So Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Big D Energy, be right back. Last segment, Neil Rule, T. Fost, D. Mac, Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device. Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, T. Fost, Terry Foster in the house, Fish is in the bowl, Sawyer in the production booth, and T. Grizzly Bear says, I met Isaiah Thomas a couple weeks ago. Such a nice and soft-spoken guy, absolute legend, and yeah, he is, and I just think that he gets sold short across the NBA circles. I think even to some degree locally. I think Isaiah gets sold shorter than he should.
Well, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Because the Pistons won a championship in 2004, so that's a distant memory. But, you know, the thing about Isaiah Thomas, it was also the terminology that people use about him. That Texture is right. He was kind of a silent guy. But what did they call him? The silent assassin.
Yeah.
So instead of, saying he was an aggressive guy, I mean, Michael Jordan was every bit as devious as Isaiah Thomas, but his reputation is a lot cleaner than Isaiah. And I think the part of it was Isaiah got in the way.
Absolutely.
You cannot build, I remember this clearly, you cannot build a championship team behind a 6'1" point guard. It's impossible.
That even further fuels what I'm talking about.
Right.
He's not supposed to be there. He's not supposed to have accomplished what he accomplished.
And if we had Big D Energy back then, you know what we would have been talking about? Trade rumors. Isaiah Thomas for Ralph Sampson. Because Ralph Sampson was 7'4", couldn't play, but people thought that was the answer to getting the Pistons over the hump.
Thank God they never made that deal. Thank God.
Some of the deals some of the picks that you don't make are the best.
Are the best ones.
Right?
Yes, sir.
On our YouTube chat thread, Carl Cross says, great gesture by the Lions yesterday when the Denver Broncos lined up with 10 men to honor Demaryius Thomas taking the delay of game penalty, and then the Lions declined the penalty. Carl Cross listening in from Denver. That was very, very cool. Very cool. That was well done on both sides.
It could have been Dan Campbell making another mistake. Just kidding. just kidding.
Even T. Fost is just joking with you on that one. But I did want to touch, and right now Sawyer is playing the video of it for those of you watching on the YouTube channel, and it was very cool how they lined up with 10 men on the field. And again, took the delay of game penalty. Lions declined it, and they can move on. Certainly, that shocking news about Demaryius Thomas, revered in the off the field football world just as much as he on the field. And he was a great player. There was no question about it. Did want to bring this one up too. Saw this on Instagram, where the post was made, the most loyal fan bases, and this was via bookie.com. The Dallas Cowboys are number 1. The Colts were number 2, which Sawyer agreed. Those Colt fans they're loyal as hell.
Oh, yeah.
They are. I'll give you that one.
Baby.
They don't get the credit they deserve, I don't think, nationally.
Tried and true, we bleed blue, baby.
Yeah, there it is. The Lions checked in at 18th. And guys, I have a big problem with that. To endure what we've endured here, to not get that
You're saying
respect.
that's part of the problem? You're saying that's part of the problem, or we should be higher?
Oh, 1,000,000%, yeah. The fact that anyone goes to the games, they should be higher, given what we've gotten as our return on investment throughout the years.
Oh, given our return on investment, for sure, there's not even a category for us. I mean, we're beyond the
and
suffer.
you still got the clowns, no matter what the Lions do. I agree with that. I agree. Yeah, good move. I'm like, they haven't made a good move in like 30 years.
Well, hopefully the best move they made was last year, and we just haven't seen it yet. Hence my clock.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting. But yeah, so you're mad it's not like number 1, 2, like top 5.
It's got to be top 5. Just because of the nature of what you've endured.
And just because of the pain.
Yeah.
You would think just because of the pain that we've suffered through over the years.
Yeah, D. Smitty says that on our YouTube chat thread. They're the most loyal. Look at what we have to go through and still be loyal. And T. Grizzly Bear, Texans fans at 6 is a joke. Never met a Texans fan in my life.
There isn't such a thing, is there?
No.
They're all Cowboys fans.
You're worldly, T. Foss. Are there any Texans fans out there?
No, there's not. No, not at all.
They're all Cowboy fans.
Of course. Yeah,
they
Texas.
all are.
Oh, yeah. You go to, we're in San Antonio. We were in Houston. There's Dallas Cowboy stuff all over the place. Yeah, Dallas Cowboy fans are delusional. They're loyal.
Yeah, we all agree they're number 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're like Central Michigan fans.
Yeah.
They're going to wear the Michigan or Michigan State stuff before they wear their Central stuff, T-Foss.
Right, and when we go to a Central game, we're gone at halftime because it's too cold.
Unless you're inebriated enough where you can't move at halftime, because that could happen too up there.
That's true.
Well, it's not the Sun Bowl. Central's never played. What if Central played in the Sun Bowl?
Oh.
We all got to go.
Pull up on
Pull up on T-Fall. Yeah, absolutely. No, but that's one of those things too that Cowboy fans get overly rewarded. I just thought that was interesting. That a bit of a travesty, T-Foss. It is. I know you always poke fun at the Lions fans, but
there's seepage here in Detroit. They're the loyal Lion fans. No matter what they do, this is my team. But there are a bunch of people in this city. You talked about a third of the people. They got a second team, whether it's Pittsburgh or Philadelphia,
Indianapolis,
or, Dallas or the Bears. So there is seepage here because the Lions have been so bad for so long. The Lions can't be top 5 most loyal fans.
I think this is a good comment here on our YouTube chat thread to wrap up the show. Mike says Lions fans aren't loyal. They're masochistic. There's a difference. I think that kind of brings it full circle with the Sun Bowl and Tampa and everything like that. For T. Foss, Terry Foster, for D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Fish, and Sawyer, my name is Neil Roll. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, See you later.
Give me that biscuit. I'm going to bury that biscuit.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho.